Jeff Capel up next from Pitt. If you have a question for him, join Jim Hammett there in the queue and raise your hand, and we'll get to as many as we can here in the next few minutes. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. I hope you are.
Good.
All right, Jim Hammett, you're up first. Take
You're on
yourself off
mute,
mute there,
Jim.
Jim. Yeah.
Jeff, obviously North Carolina always plays fast, but first time in a long time they don't have Baycott in the middle. Do you see them trying to play even faster than usual?
Yeah, I do. I do. Their the makeup of their team is different. At times, like last game, they started four guards. And so if any of those guards get it, they're all able to push and to attack. So I do think they're playing faster than they have the past few years, which they played fast all the time. But I think they've made a conscious effort to try to get out a little bit more.
Go next to George Mikulowski.
Hey, Jeff, Zach is playing almost 10 more minutes per game in conference play than last year. We know he can block shots. We've seen that. But what makes him such an effective defender in your eyes?
Well, obviously blocking shots. He's a versatile defender. I think he can defend multiple positions. His athleticism. The thing with Zach is for him to be engaged all the time. He has moments out there still, and it's much better than last year, but moments still where he kind of floats. And the concentration and all of those things aren't there. He's gotten a lot better with that, but that still needs to go up to another level.
Stephen Thompson.
Hey, Jeff. Ish is shooting, I think, north of 40% from three since the start of the new year. What's allowed him to, shoot so well, especially in conference play?
I think just repetitions before practice, during practice, after practice, his routine, trusting his shot, taking good shots. I think those are the things that's helped him.
Dominic Campbell.
Coach, obviously people bring up rebounding in terms of, some of the things you guys struggle with on defense, but what are some other areas you want to see your team improve on defense, especially going against a good North Carolina team Tuesday night?
Guarding the basketball individually, not allowing drives and doing it without fouling. Our rotations on our ball screen defense, number one, the actual ball screen defense, calling our coverage out, executing the coverage, and then off the ball in the ball screen defense being where we're supposed to be. It all really pertains to guarding the ball. And the best defenses, they have five guys guarding the ball, not just the one guy that's on the ball. Ball screen defense, five guys guarded, not just the two that are involved in it. So our communication and all of those things have to continue to improve.
Chris Carter, go ahead.
Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
One thing Jalen told us was that in prep, it seems like you guys are studying the heck out of these teams that you're facing, especially what their defense tries to do, and then they're switching it up when they're facing you guys. Is there a common thing that you're seeing them do like different opponents that are just like, hey, that wasn't on tape, we have to adjust to it? And what about your team makes them very adjustable in game to counter what other teams are doing?
Yeah, well, the one thing that teams have done pretty consistently over the last, really since conference play, but certainly over the last 5 or 6 games, is that there's a lot of emphasis and a lot of attention to Jalen and to Ish. Teams are in gaps early. Really, I think we feel like when I say we, our coaching staff, they don't think those guys are going to pass. And so they're in gaps early. They're trying to show them a big crowd. And we have to pass more. We have to get off the basketball. I think we've done a better job of that the last 3 games. But that's what they're seeing. Syracuse, in preparation for them, they were mainly in drop coverage on the ball screen, and they were kind of forcing teams to play 2-on-2. because off the ball, they would stay with their guys. They did not start in drop coverage against us. They were a little bit more aggressive on the ball screen. Um, but then when we were able to get to the paint, they came off the guy. So I thought our guys adjusted and made passes where guys were open for three or second drives and things like that. So again, we see things on tape. We have to be able to adjust because, you know, our league has really good coaches and they make adjustments during the game. You know, you may come out and say, okay, we're going to play this way the first 4 minutes, second 4 minutes, we're going to change this coverage up and do something different. And so we have to be able to adjust in game as well.
Jerry DiPaolo.
Good morning, Jeff. I was just wondering, when you speak to your team about its current situation, do you lean more heavily on the fact that you had problems at Duke and Florida State, or the fact that you had close games against really good teams, Louisville and Clemson, and you won a tough one on the road on Saturday?
I just tell my guys the truth. Whatever the truth is, that's what I tell them. And really, my big thing with them is that we have to be able to sustain discipline, toughness, and fight for longer periods. That's the big thing. I think that's over the last 5 games, and really since we came back from Christmas. If we go back, like really the game before Christmas, we didn't defend at the level. We just made every shot and we scored a bunch of points. But we have to be able to sustain the level of play that's necessary to win against good teams. And our league has really good teams. And to be able to beat good teams, you have to be able to sustain it. If we go to the bench, those guys have to come in and know what we're doing and do it at a high level on both ends of the floor. I thought Syracuse was the first game that we had it for an extended period of time. I thought we fought against Clemson, Florida State, Louisville, Duke. It wasn't lack of fight, but we have to be able to sustain the level that we need to play at for longer periods of time.
Thank you.
Go next to Jose Negron.
Good morning, Jeff. Wanted to ask you about Papa Conte. What have you kind of liked about his game when he's been on the floor, and what are some areas where you kind of feel like he could show some improvement?
Yeah, well, he brings great energy every day. You know, he's a big guy. He plays with physicality, and he's been really important to us. He's given us sparks at different times off the bench. He's got to be able to play without fouling. He has the defensive rebound. I think he has 8 or 9 on the year. He's got to do that. That's an area where all of us have to get better. And then really knowing and understanding what it is we're doing at all times on both sides of the floor. Offensively, knowing what we're in, being able to execute it. Defensively, knowing the coverages and being able to do it without fouling. But he's getting better and better. You know, he didn't play basketball all year last year. And so it takes time, especially for young guys and especially for a big, to get back into the swing of things.
Go back to Chris Carter.
Jeff, just following up on my question earlier, you know, teams are throwing a lot at Jalen because they know he's talented. How have you seen him grow in how he counters that or combats that? Because it's different things. It's bigger guys. It's quicker guys. It depends on the week to week. How have you seen him deal with that this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten better. You know, he's a smart kid. He's a student of the game. He wants to be good. He works. He studied, like all of those things. And he's been able to make adjustments. And the thing that, you know, we try to emphasize with him is, you know, you're going to have the ball a lot. There's a responsibility that comes along with that. And, you know, when you're a guard, a point guard, and you have the ball a lot, there's a responsibility that you have, man. And it's just, that's the way it is. That's the way basketball will always be. When you're a really good player, there's a responsibility that you have to play a certain way, to look a certain way, to compete a certain way, to lead a certain way. If you want to be a high-level player, and he wants to do it, so he's learning how to do it with different things that people are throwing at him.
Final question will come from David Teal.
Jeff, you've had one of the lowest turnover rates in the country all season, but only 3 on Saturday and none in the second half. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
To what do you attribute that?
I think we have pretty good guards. I think we, make good decisions. That's why the 14 in the first half against Florida State was just it's the most we've had in any game. Was I hope an anomaly. But again, we've been pretty good at it all year. I thought in the second half of that game, Syracuse, we were in front of our bench so we could kind of joystick it a little bit and make sure we got into stuff. And but sometimes, David, we didn't have any turnovers in the second half, but you can have bad shots that are just like turnovers. They're just not marked as a turnover. And we had a few of those that we have to eliminate. But again, I thought Syracuse game was we had more sustained concentration and level at the level we need to play, and hopefully we can continue getting better with that.
Jeff, thank you for the time.
All right.
Appreciate it. We'll see you
Appreciate it,
soon.
man. Take care, guys. Bye.